Hi, this is MJ, and in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make this fun and cozy Santa hat, perfect for the holiday season. I have used some fur yarn as well as a really beautiful worsted weight that has a nice sheen to it. So Mighty Stitch worsted weight in Love Letter is the yarn that I used, but what I have done is doubled it up. So it's making it like a bulky yarn rather than a worsted weight. I started working up one in the worsted and I found this yarn is on the thin side of a worsted, and I just really felt the hat just didn't give the look that I wanted. So I wanted it to be a little bit bulkier, a little bit chunkier, just to really make this hat stand out. And it still isn't overly bulky, even combining the two strands, but I thought it would pair a lot better with the super bulky fur yarn that I was using for the brim. So I chose Fable Fur, and this is from We Crochet as well. Both yarns are from We Crochet, and this is perfect for making pom-poms as well. So you can use the fur to make the pom-pom and make that nice cozy fur brim on the hat. So I will have the links for the yarn in the description box for the Mighty Stitch worsted that you're going to double up, as well as the Fable Fur. And the hook that I'm using is a 7mm size. This is a streamline hook from Furls Crochet. I will have the link in the description box for that as well. And the stitch that I'm going to be working the hat in is extended single crochet. So it's a pretty simple stitch. I will go over it with you if you're new to it. And it just gives this really nice textured look. So a couple other things you're going to need is a yarn needle, of course, for weaving in those tails, a measuring tape and scissors. And I use some polyester fill to stuff the pom-pom. So what I love about this pattern is that they all sizes start the same way. We're actually going to start from the tip of the hat right here, and we're going to work our way increasing as we go. So you can keep working this hat as large as you need it to go. So it makes it really easy. You can try on for whoever you're making it for. I have, of course, all the sizes listed in the pattern, but I just found this a really simple pattern to adjust based on its construction. So let's begin with a magic ring. So you're taking your two strands of yarn, just holding them together. Now, if you find this difficult and you'd prefer not to work with two strands, now this does give you flexibility to choose different yarn types and just combine them. Or I suggest maybe Brava bulky yarn instead. You could use one strand if you wanted to switch out for that yarn. So I like to wrap the yarn around my index finger 3 times. Take your hook, just slide it through, grab that first loop, pull it through, and we'll chain 1. Okay, so now we have a nice ring to work into. I'm going to work 6 extended single crochets. So to work an extended single crochet, you're just going through, pulling up a loop, yarn over, pull through only 1, yarn over, and pull through 2. Okay, so we're starting it off pretty small with only 6 stitches. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so now we can pull our ring tight, and I sometimes just push the yarn, the work that we've done, out of the way so I can really see what's happening. Take your tail, you're going to pull it, and as you can see, these loops are pulling in, this one's not. So we're going to take this, give it a tug, and it just pulls the other ones in tight, and then you take your tail and pull. So now that's not going to come undone, that's nice and tight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And when you're working with double strands, sometimes it is a little trickier just to see the loops that you need to work through. And it's okay if you want to sub out for bulky yarn and not do this. One's a little tight to get into. So we're going to slip stitch to join. I've really messed that up on you. Okay. Normally it's not this tricky. I just feel like because I'm trying to show you it's being stubborn. Okay, so pull through. I've slip stitched to join. Now I'm going to chain 1. And this round I am going to just work 1 in every stitch around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to keep it at 6 stitches. And I've just how I've started that one off, I'm getting some catching with loops, but we're going to work past that. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. We're going to slip stitch to join. Chain 1. So now this round we're going to start increasing and it will be in the final stitch. So we'll work around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and to increase, we're just going to add an additional stitch in that last one. And then we can slip stitch to join. Chain 1, and this is all you're going to do. So this is how easy, you just get that tail stuck in there. This is how easy this pattern is. We're just increasing 1 stitch every round. So this round we're going to go up to 8 stitches. So 7 and 8, adding 2. Every round you're adding 2 in that last stitch. We do a slip stitch to join the first extended single crochet, and you just keep going. So follow along with your pattern. You can go to the blog and follow along, or you can purchase the PDF that you can print out. This is how it's going to look. This is how your seam's going to look. So you're going to notice a nice little curve, which is going to give us this curve in our hat, and you just keep going to the size you're working on. So I have worked this one now so that it's ready to go, and I have a total of 38 stitches. So I've increased all the way up to 38. And then once you reach 38, we need to do some rounds where we're just working at the 38 stitches, okay? So this is big enough to now fit your head, but you need a little bit of length to go over the head as well before we add the fur. So this round now we're just going to work 1 extended single crochet in every stitch around, for a total of 38. And you're going to want to do a total of 4 rounds just at our 38 stitches, okay? So this would be the first of 4. So I'm going to work this round at 38 stitches, not increasing, and then I'll do an additional 3. And at this point, if you're trying it on a little person or whoever you're making it for, or even yourself, if you're working on a bigger size, you can see to make sure that that will fit on your head or their head, just to make sure it's big enough, and you can always keep going bigger. I've given you numbers within the pattern. If your gauge is bang on with mine, and you've measured the head sizes that you're making the hat for, everything should be good. But if your gauge is off, maybe you're using a different yarn, then you can always try on and just keep increasing to get that right size. Okay, so I've worked all the way around. I'm going to slip stitch to join, and then I'm going to do the additional 3 rounds that I need off camera. So I'll meet you back up once I finish those 3 rounds. So I'll have 4 done in total at just the 38 stitches. Okay, so I have finished my 4 rounds, and it's really easy to actually make sure that you have the right amount. I can see here is where I've had 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4 with no increases. And now to finish it off, we're going to work 2 rounds of just single crochet. So no more extended. We're going to do a single in every stitch around. Just going to pull it in a little bit tighter. So I'm going to go ahead and work 2 rounds of single crochet, and then I'll meet you up again. Okay, so I've worked my 2 rounds of single crochet, and I have used about a total of 230 yards for this hat. So working from 2 balls, you're going to use about 150 yards per ball. So in total, with your 2 strands together, that's 230 yards. So there's about 208 yards on a ball, so I would still suggest for this size to order the 2 balls. And if you're making hats for family, whatever, you can kind of combine your balls to stretch it further so that you won't have a lot of waste. So for instance, I was able to, out of 2 balls, I've been able to make this baby size, baby toddler size, plus I've made the smaller baby size from 2 balls. So that's where I'm saying if you're making more than 1 hat, you can kind of get use out of it. So I've made those 2 hats and I only have like this amount left. And my adult hat used about 320 yards in total, but I'll have all of those details on the blog post that you can check out. So now what we're going to do is switch over to the fur. So I am going to stick my hook through our first single crochet, and then I'm going to pull through with the fur yarn on that slip stitch join. I'm going to chain 1 and work a single crochet in the first stitch, and I'm just going to crochet over my tails as I go. Now the fur yarn is a little tricky to work with, and I just want to say, like, just trust your judgment where you're placing your stitches. This round's going to be easy because we can see our stitches, but going forward, I just try to count and estimate, really use my fingers to see where to place the hook, but it is a little tricky working with the fur. So you're going to work around 1 in every stitch. So stay on track. You should have 38 stitches for this size. And I like to separate them out. Once I've crocheted over both tails for a bit, I'm just going to crochet over this tail for a couple more. And then just keep working around. This round's easy because we can see the stitch we're working into. Okay, so I have worked all the way around. I'm going to trim this tail just to get it out of the way. You can weave that back in the opposite direction just to make sure it's secure. Now, this is where you really have to just use your fingers and your judgment. We're going to slip stitch to join, chain 1, and single crochets in every stitch around. This is where you can kind of feel with your fingers to find those little holes of each stitch. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. So I just like to try to count just to make sure I stay on track for this part. Like I say, I will use my fingers. Like if I don't think I'm getting it, if you just kind of use your fingers, you can usually find the hole. Just keep working that around. Okay, when you get all the way around, we're going to slip stitch to join. And I'd like to do, I think, another round. I think it would almost look okay with 2 rounds, but I'd like it a little bit thicker. So I am going to go around with another round, just making sure to count as I go so I stay on track. Okay, so I'm going to slip stitch to join and fasten off. So this is how it's looking. We can weave in our tails now. So you'll need a yarn needle for bulky yarn. And just try to go and weave in one way and then back in the opposite direction. I know it's a little tricky still with the fur to do this. But as long as you get that tail nice and secure, you're not going to see it. And I'll just weave this tail back in the opposite direction. I'll look after these tails and then meet you back up for the pom-pom. So a really quick and easy way to make a pom-pom is to make a rectangle. And you can make it really start out as long as you want. So for the bigger hat, I'm going to do bigger pom-poms and maybe make the pom-poms a little bit smaller as we go down in size. So I'm going to chain out a total of 15. Okay, and then I'm going to work back in the second chain from the hook. So I'm going to work across 14 single crochets. Okay, so I've worked across 14. You can see this is going to be the pom-pom going around like this. Okay, so this will be your circumference. And now we want to get it to kind of come up a few more rows to make it a nice rectangle. So I'll chain 1, and you're just going to keep working in rows at this point. Keep count of your stitches, try and keep them on track at 14. Okay, so this is 5 rows, and I'm just gonna measure it just so you have an idea. So pushing back all the fluff, it's about 6. By about 2.5 without all the fluff. Like if you push back kind of the little fluffy bit, it's about 2.5. So now what I'm going to do is just fold it in half. And I want to just now slip stitch the ends together. And you don't really need to flip it or anything because you can't really see. What I'm gonna do is just fasten this off. Just knotted these tails. I'm gonna stick the one tail to the inside. I'm going to take my yarn needle and all you want to do is work around. You're just sort of skipping sections. Because I can't really see my stitches, I'm just guessing that I may be skipping a couple stitches or a stitch, and I'm just sort of working around like this. And then you should just be able to pull it tight to close it up. Do some additional weaving. Just to make sure that that's all closed. I go back in the opposite direction. When you're working with this fur, you can't really see anything, so it doesn't have to be really fussy. Trim that tail. So all you need to do to make a bigger pom-pom is make a bigger rectangle. So I'm just gonna get some fiber fill here just to give it some stuffing. Could have maybe gone with one more round, I'm thinking. But I think this is gonna be okay because this is just a little hat size. So now what we want to do is close this one up. We're going to do it the same way that we did the other end, but we need to get some yarn joined on. I'm just gonna knot this to join it. And then this tail can just go again to the inside so we don't even have to weave it or do anything with it. we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to start weaving around. Close it up. And I want to make sure that it's closed nice and tight, so I'm going to just keep doing a little bit of weaving again. You can see it makes a nice little cute pom-pom. Now you could always make a yarn pom-pom or even attach a faux fur pom-pom. But if you go ahead and purchase the fur to do the band section, this just saves you having to use a pom-pom. And now all we're going to do is we want to attach this to the tip of the hat. Okay, so I'm going to weave that through. Back through the pom-pom again. So the only difference with this is it's not going to be removable when you're attaching them like this. Hand wash, dry flat. So if you're washing this hat, make sure to hand wash it. Where if you have the removable fur pom-poms, you can always snap it off. But you're going to have the issue with this as well. So you're just going to want to hand wash this hat just so you don't ruin your fur. But then once you get that on good, you can just trim your tail. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and tap the bell to stay updated on all my new videos and tutorials. Thanks so much, guys. Have an awesome day.